vibes, maybe. You're here with one half of your ghosts. I mean, I suppose we are talking about ghosts today, huh? So I ain't too far off the subject. Jeide Track here. How y'all doing on this lovely Sunday evening? Now, I could say that I wore the mask for some type of specific reason. Of course, it could just be BS. It's all perspectives at the end of the day. But absolutely, what we are here for is to speak upon that. The very real power and perspectives. As a part two, as a continuation to the conversation that occurred this past Wednesday with my brother Dash and with Chevy, in regards to freedom of speech. And where it spawned from, if you will, as far as the inspiration, Mr. Ye himself. I thought maybe we should take it back and really dig deep. See, if we gonna go full maybe, we need to go full maybe. And we need to talk about some shit that's gonna ruffle some feathers regarding freedom of speech. I mean, some real shit. So, trigger warning ahead of time, you know? Dash tonight is unable to make tonight's live because he's handling some business elsewhere. So, you know, we will be able to get Dash back up on the program this Wednesday. You know, as for right now, he passed the torch off to me to hold it down for tonight's conversation. We might have a guest or two pop up in here with what we about to talk about, but, you know, for that, we got to drop the topic for everybody that's going to be up in here to know what we talking about. See, Trice, what's going on with you? And Kang, I see you. So, as I write this topic down, the preamble, I suppose, before we get into the full bread and body of tonight's conversation, is this. And for those who are already in here, you already see what we about to talk about. We need to understand one thing first and foremost. There are very few talks, narratives, terms of endearment, uplifting values, if you will, because even uplifting is subjective, that move on a universal plane. Death isn't even something that is conceptualized as universal no more. And not to say that that isn't something that everybody doesn't acknowledge. You have some religions and some spiritualities that believe death is nothing more than the transition of one lifespan to another. So therefore, death doesn't exist. You have others that just outside of the mind of which most people are accustomed of looking and acknowledging death will see death as something that doesn't affect them. I only use that as an example because it's something that is most familiar to all of us. And even still, as a collective, we can't seem to get a firm grip on agreeing to that. It's a funny thing living in this world. Once again, the emphasis on the maybe. We might just get flagged tonight. Let me bring... See, Trace, with the question mark. I see you, homie. Don't worry. Don't worry. We getting into all of it.
We flagging?
Tonight, fam.
My favorite episode. I want to get flagged. Yeah, I mean, that's you said you doing my type of thing.
What's going on with you first off?
Yo, I'm good, bro. Handling a mass overload of things needing to be done. You know what I mean? In the best way possible.
I definitely dig that. You know what I mean? So, you know, outside of God's blessings, and even within God's blessings, because God is good and life is good on this end. It has its trials and tribulations like all things, but I'm still here to talk about it. So it's a blessing and I'm grateful for it. You know, wanted to pick up off of I wanted to
Right.
pick up off the conversation that you and Dash had this Wednesday, and I know that there was talks of possibly having a part two. I jumped in the conversation for a little bit.
Mm.
It was interesting speaking about freedom of speech, and just pulling away from the red and blue of the conversation and just looking for more colors that yield to where blends may find favor and may find a home. You know what I'm saying? Because we're artists, you know what I mean? We need all the
Mm.
colors. You know what I'm saying? It ain't enough to have a couple of colors and think that you're making some shit happen. We need all the
All
colors.
the, and if we ain't got them, we making them. You know what I mean? Like, niggas is cutting in line. I ain't waiting for this color to drop. I'm about to go make this joint. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was interesting. Like I said, just hearing y'all talk, and I started thinking, okay, it's such a thing about, like, to me, when I hear freedom of speech, when I hear rights, first of all, when I hear rights now where I am, rights don't move me anymore because rights is like redundant. To be able to tell somebody that you have rights is like trying to reinforce what God has already given to every one of us. So for a human to be like, hey, you have these rights, it's like, what type of intermediary are you for me to respect outside of what I know that I've been God given? That's just me though.
Also, when did you get in charge of like giving them the rights control, like giving motherfuckers like property of what you can and can't?
Right.
You know what I mean?
So I mean, when I hear rights is one of those trigger words, one of those buzzwords that they say, one of those key words. I'll be like, you know what? That ain't my conversation. This is one of those conversations where the dog's gonna be chasing his tail and having a great time doing so too, and having a hell of a time.
At maximum
Right? You know
velocity.
what I'm saying? Was that anime that came out, Beyblade?
Yeah. 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 In reality, it's just kids shooting a fucking thing at another thing. The whole time they seeing images.
Whole time, So I kind of liken that to freedom of speech. It's like, okay, we're given a voice. We came out the womb with a voice. Nobody had to tell us that we had the freedom to cry. Nobody had to tell us that we had the freedom to fuss. You feel what I'm saying? Nobody had to tell us these things. Now, of course, when you start introducing political infrastructures and oppressions and all this other constructs of society, motherfuckers forget. And then they got to get reminded. And that's where we get into civil wars and we get into policies and we get into lobbyists and all that, that try to remind people who forgot that we have these rights that were given to us at conception. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I said to myself, I said, you know what? Since one of the main inspirations of the freedom of speech talk was, Kanye rants and shit, I was like, you know what? Let's go into the treasure trove and let's kick shit up a notch. You know what I'm saying? Black pepper is cool. Ain't fucking with ghost pepper. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, he's
Nah,
the
man.
Kanye.
Yeah, nah,
He's
Kanye,
Kanye.
nah, Cayenne is like these days. Cayenne is the new black pepper, right? It's
It ain't
nothing. It's
nothing.
nothing. Like
It's
cayenne is
like
the new black pepper. You put cayenne in your food, okay, you might be able to do the salsa for 2 steps and shit like that. But when that merengue come in, hey, look, you might have to fall back.
when
You might have to fall back. You know what I'm saying? So I said,
okay.
okay. So we're talking about something that is already intrinsically given to us as an ability for us to express through freedom, because freedom is a byproduct of free will. Ain't no human being gave us free will. You know what I'm saying? But if we're talking about freedom of speech, okay, we have to also understand a major component in the reason why, and this is a reason I will say that Kanye is a genius for this one reason. Because Kanye is literally reflecting what everybody goes through every 4 years when it comes to presidential elections. He does the same shit. Every several years, Kanye will come up with something that will polarize and dichotomize the world of culture between those who hail Kanye as this great genius and those who are like, oh, Kanye is this, and they vilify him. And every time he comes out, he does it successfully in the same voices. They never learn. They continue to be a part of this hamster wheel. They continue to be participants in this rat race. And I said, you know what? He said something a while back that was wildfire when he said that slavery was a choice. I get it. I get it.
Oh, shit. I didn't know you was going to
I get it.
It was a choice statement. This
Here's
is good.
the thing. That isn't meant for everybody. That isn't meant for everybody. If a Democrat comes out and says free health care to the whole world, it sounds good, right? It's all right. I guess it's cool. We can work with, I guess. Free health care for the whole world. For the whole free world. Free health care. Vote for me. Free health care. And yet there will still be a group of people that will be butting heads with this party member because free healthcare isn't enough, or they don't trust it, or whatever the case may be. It just doesn't resonate with their rights. It doesn't resonate with where they are. Now, if another person come out, let's say a Republican comes out and says, no wars, vote for me, no wars, world peace, got the plan, everything written out, the whole plan, whatsoever, everything. Sounds good, right?
Yeah.
And yet there will still be people around the world who it's not enough. World peace is not enough. World peace is not enough. I can't trust that world peace thing. Oh, they just want my votes for this. They just want, rightfully so. Rightfully so. I'm not here to argue that point. What I'm here to shed light on is the fact that it's funny how people can get mad at the fact that we have a choice in everything that we do. Here's the thing. For some people, a choice isn't a choice at all. Because to them, giving up food for another person to eat isn't a choice. Because if they don't eat, they don't survive. The same situation given to another type of person is a choice, because they'd rather go days on end making sure that somebody else eats because they know that they'll survive. They just won't have the same sustenance. They won't have the same food, the same taste, the same cravings. They won't be looking out for themselves in the time being to make sure that something or somebody else is able to get this. So I go back to the slavery is a choice comment. That's not meant for everybody. It's like a Democrat trying to say something that all Republicans and liberals and this, that, and the third should agree with. No. Here's the thing. Everybody gets mad at when Ye says that, or when anybody says that, because I agree with it. Because you know, to Nat Turner, slavery was a choice. That's why he did what he did. To Harriet Tubman, slavery was a choice. That's why she did what she did. If there wasn't a choice for these people wouldn't be pioneers in the sense of where they are in Black history and Black culture. There wouldn't be an underground railroad for Harriet Tubman to walk around with a pistol and leading people and being like, hey, look, you rocking with me the long way. Because if you go the wrong way, you ain't gonna have Nat Turner going and leading revolts against the white man, this, that, and the third, because of what the injustices of slavery were about, because they knew intrinsically in their hearts that they were human beings. They had nobody to need to tell them and shit, man. If it came down to education, they wouldn't want to go get it, man. They weren't lazy enough. They weren't lazy enough to just take the word of somebody and just run with it. They said, no, it's got to be more than that. You know what I mean? I see the bee coming for the flower and pollinating, but where does the bee go at the end of the day? See, most people, they cool with just looking at the bee doing this thing with the flower. There's also those motherfuckers that decide to go back to where the bee goes, and that's the people that find the honey.
I'm quiet because I'm listening. Like I'm listening to you because I thought about what you said earlier. Well, you said it yesterday to me in a text message, but then I thought about it earlier today. And I was like, can I literally pick a scenario where all humans would agree if slavery was choice or not? Like for real. Like I was like, what would it be? And I said, oh my God, the only thing that I can see everybody being like clear online is if you sign papers. If it was consensual. If it was like, I am signing my right to go ahead and be enslaved. That's the only way people are willing to see it as an option. I start, you know what I mean? Therefore, meaning, is slavery an option or not? It is extremely situational. Extremely situational. Because this is one of them joints where it's like, yo, you got landmines on both sides of your feet if you step right or left. In the name of life propelling onward, yeah, people took an option for that, to remain on the planet. In the name of I won't be enslaved as the option, they died. You know what I mean? Did a lot of people die? Yes. In all slavery moments in time, mad people have fucking died. There's no books about these people because these people chose the death. You know what I mean? The gentleman Kanye is radical, interestingly radical to me, because he makes himself the example that many motherfuckers be like, that's not realistic. That's not. And then he shows that as an example. Prime example. He went and said a bunch of shit. Next day, all those type of people he mentioned, what they do? We're no longer continuing conversations with. If what he said was bullshit, if what he said didn't have some honey at the end, didn't you say honey a few seconds ago? If it wasn't a little sweet taste of honey somewhere, they would allow the outside. Now, did what he said was radical? Yes. But what do we know about humankind? We don't respond until something is radical. We don't find an issue or feel pressed to get in the mix until the radical bell has been rung. And now we're paying attention. Because things that speak, cry softly, may not make the first noise. We walk past it all day long. Motherfuckers be starving, but if they can only mumble barely a sound for you to hear that they need food, most people, we're not gonna stop. We're not gonna check on that person and nothing like that. That person could be a mute. We don't know. We're not investigating. So to say, is it a choice or not? I'm gonna piss motherfuckers off because I'm gonna say you can always choose death. You can always choose you can always choose the option that is on the other, like we said last week, but choosing comes with repercussions. It's funny how all these things come with positive and negative and in between repercussions. You know what I mean? I learned I can't say what I would and wouldn't do in that time frame. I'm not there. I'm not dealing with the pressure dealt with in that moment. I don't fucking. No one can actually fathom the life any person lived in that moment. Looking at people on the whole scale, though, we do choose the easiest route, and a lot of times that's to go along with it, to go on with the motion, You know what I mean? A lot of motherfuckers won't step up and say, hey, you know what? I chose go with the motion today. But that's the reality of it. We go with the motion. And we don't complain until it's a radical thing. When you mention rights, I found it interesting also about rights because babies got all the rights.
All right.
The stops. And nobody told them a rule book. Nobody told them a way to go about things. It was just
I'm
hey,
hungry.
yo, look, I'm about to cry. Yeah, let's make this happen. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need nobody to confirm that I deserve to eat right now. I don't need nobody to confirm that I'm about to fuss right now. The catch is, they say as you grow, you're supposed to develop a mind that helps you help society, so to say, right? Because our society hates for people to focus on themselves, which I also find very interesting. The lack of allowing someone to focus on themselves is wild, because you would want people to actually focus on self enough to contribute correctly, or not at all, or only in a fashion that works with everybody else, so to say, not forcing the hand to do, allowing it to cooperate, I guess. I don't fucking know. Well, I do know. I don't know which way would be the right framing of words. You know what I mean? I ask you this though. Well, you got the more of the question, so you be my guest.
It's just a stream of
Consciousness at this point, you know what I'm saying? It's a stream consciousness. What's up?
Oh yeah.
Gotcha.
So
Oh well, no.
Like,
Well, let's just say
go ahead.
no. Go ahead. I'ma like this now. You
No
frozen me.
problem.
so another thing too, in the vein of, you know what I mean, is also looking at the 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 multiple sided nature of matter, period. You know what I'm saying? Um, a coin has three sides. You know what I mean? Most people, they say that a coin has two sides. A coin has three sides if you count the ridges. You know what I'm saying? So three sides to a story, or at the very least, and things of that nature. You know, there was a whole wildfire of respectability politics and such, right? Which respectability politics, of course, with my limited understanding, is something that is that mostly women attribute it to men looking at women as the way that they walk, or the way that they dress, or the way that they talk, assert themselves, and saying, hey, you don't do this because you doing this equals this. And it's just like, who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you to say that and shit? And it's okay, it's cool. Well, there's also a shadow side of that respectability politics too, that needs to be addressed. I remember Van Lathan, that worked with TMZ. He checked Kanye, and he was like the hero of the moment. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, yeah, get him. And it's just like, well, if you break down what he said, you know, that's respectability politics. You want him. He came from a place where he's like, you don't have the right to tell me about myself, or about what my ancestors, or ancestors similar to my ancestors, did in terms of the fear of death. You know what I mean?
And it's like, okay, this is interesting. So that's why
I don't play the politics game, because politics, they move the goalposts too much for my liking. I like standing on a rock. Politics play with sand too much, man. Politics play with sand too much. Ain't no rocks in no fucking politics, dog. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no rocks in no politics. What kind of infrastructure, institution lies itself on a rock when it comes to politicians? And you got lobbyists, and you got shit in Capitol Hill that could turn at the flip of a dime, as long as you have the logistics behind you. The amount of people who are willing to turn a bill over, and the money behind it, that's the only thing that makes things right. You know what I'm saying? Hey man, I'm cool off that, man. If that's the case, cool off of it.
and then once again, it's not on me
To assert these things on another person. And if I say that slavery for me is a choice, outside of me being in that space, because like you said, I wasn't born in that time. I wasn't meant to be born in that time. Slavery means a whole different thing now. So I have the privilege in being able to say that slavery is a choice in regards to it being in the now, because I know myself and I know what constitutes as slavery now. And I know where I stand in the dynamics of it. You know what I'm saying? And I also know that death is something to be embraced. If you go live your whole entire life with the fear of death, I guarantee you everybody will find a way to manipulate, to control, and to abuse you. There's a universality in death that if you stop short of the threshold when it comes to death, and that's it, oh please. Somebody walk up to you right now with their hands inside of their shirt and be like, give me your money. And the threats of dying is going to allow you to pick up your wallet or to pick up your purse without even you assessing the situation. People haven't seen death in the eyes.
So
your life changes when you look death in the eyes. Life becomes different. Ain't a lot of people that could say that they look death in the eyes. Some people have talked about being around death. Some people have been in the same room as death. Life is different when you look death in the eyes. It's different.
when it's your turn to stand at the end of the tunnel or near a tunnel, wherever reference they want to put it, the riverboat ride is definitely different. You know what I mean? Because you could ride the riverboat all the way to the exit and then the motherfucker tell you not yet. You know what I mean? When you was talking a few seconds ago, I was just thinking about different ways in which the option becomes limited, because that's so forth the conversation, right? The conversation is more about restriction of options, making you choose. I listen to some of the sides of the argument people make when it comes down to like slavery or choice or not. And the first one, the one thing no one really gets into, which restricts options, is most of the time, I don't care what part, we're not doing American slavery, we're doing slavery, period. Most of the times when it happened, you were taken from where the grounds you knew to land or place you have no geographical understanding of. That automatically restricts your intelligence to break out. You feel me? That automatically strips that joint. You're relocated to a spot where you may not even be able to know the language. Restricted again. These are handicaps coming into place now. If we talk handicaps, these are the handicaps coming in now. Not only that, if you do get out of here, you don't know where safe is. Because once again, back to that first one, you're in a foreign place. Safe could be right the fuck next door. You never seen, you never knew. You know what I mean? So the option restriction of slavery being a choice or not, to me, that's the existence. Restriction of option creating a forced decision. Now we're gonna take that from over there, and that's where politics became a window. Because now I can play on what I can almost offer you as an option to favor how you feel about me or want to contribute to me, so to say. You know what I mean? Fuck bills and politics with governments. Humans' interactions have too many fucking politics in it for me. You know what I mean? We used to talk about all the time. Motherfuckers got face cards like no tomorrow. You know what I mean? My favorite part about being a stoner, I'ma look the same high all the goddamn time. You know what I mean? I ain't gotta get into my emotion going up or down when I see your ass. Motherfucker, I'm baked. If you bake, we can relate. If not, I'm just listening, cuz. You know what I mean? Cause joy up and down, man. Joy, yo. Joy. And the fucked up part is, cause I'ma definitely go off, cause we going off the edge now. You said let's go get flat. So I'm on the edge. You know what's wild? the people putting people in captivity, right? Let's go that way with it. The people putting people into captivity have a joy in reaping benefits from free work and have a family and a life and a form of love beginning to cohabitate off of the existence of this thing they started way back here that would be labeled right depending on who holding the motherfucking camera. You know what I mean? Like, I could do this. You could do it with the drug dealer. You could do it with the single mom. You could do it. It's wild how it chops back to back to back. And that's the interesting part, right? Because someone enslaved, working or selling or doing whatever with farming, whatever, anything, motherfucker, down to a sweatshop, and someone making capital, the person making capital, we can look at them like a goddamn devil and a demon and the devil themselves. That child that just came into that world that you mentioned, that don't know shit about it, got love for that motherfucker. Like, hey, honest, clean. If you don't know the dirt, maybe that's why politics is a motherfucker. Because if you don't know someone's dirt, you have nothing to ride the fence about. You don't have to pick a side. You don't have to choose slavery or not. You don't know the fucking dirt.
There's a couple of comments I want to jump into. I want to fly off of that though. There's something I want to talk to in the sense of the intelligence of those who chose to be slaves for a reason that they chose to be slaves, and I also want to talk about the dirt regarding you know what I mean, the political
This, shit. You know what I'm saying?
But the African butterfly said the idea that slavery is a choice doesn't acknowledge how powerful the group or mass population mentality is. There's a reason why when they attacked smaller groups, it was harder to overtake them than when they attacked larger groups. Sadly, at the end of the day, the lemming mentality is a real thing. Once you get a whole population walking one way, it's very, very hard to get them to change direction. That's why even though the enslaved were a larger number than the owners, they were still controlled. That's real shit. That's real shit. Thank you very much for those jewels right there, Nimade. Thank you. Agreed. See, the thing is, when emotionality comes into it, people hear slavery as a choice and they think that it's somebody vilifying another one or it's coming from an elitist place or state of being. No, you know what I mean? There's still wrong and right that associates itself with the understanding of what a choice is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can have all the justifications behind your choice, of course. It doesn't matter. What are you employing the choice for? Now, somebody can say slavery is a choice, cool. Go ahead and, you know what I'm saying, get themselves killed by saying, I'm going to live a free person. I'm going to live and die. What the white boy say somewhere about this whole entire American shit? He said, give me liberty or give me death. Whatever white boy said that shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can stand there and you be like, you can stand there and be like, hey, give me liberty, give me death. Bop! And you gonna die. You got your freedom, right? But if you left behind your children and you left behind your wife, and then they look at you different because of what you died for, you ain't leaving nothing for them, does that make you any better than the person that decides to be a slave for a certain amount of time and set out a plan?
Who's judging is my question. Right? Because that would be the thing. Who's the fuck judging? Who courtroom are you sitting in today on the trials and tribulation of your actions? You know what I mean? Because here's the catch. There's no me, or maybe there is, if somebody chose die. You know what I mean? The craziest part about genetics that I don't think people like to think of, well, I like to think about, I don't give a fuck what people think about. The parts of genetics that I like to think about is that the codes exist no matter the past determined. It's all about when the codes interact. You know what I mean? Because even though my folks got together and made me, either one of them could have met with someone else and still fucking made me. You know what I mean? So if someone was to die, that don't mean you would not exist. You know what I mean? Like, your grandma could have been there and seen someone die that inspired her to then take someone's life that then inspired them to be free. You know what I mean? Death has wild symbolisms. You know, when you go to a funeral, it's like two worlds in there. It's a lot of sadness. And then there's the people of a certain age who you see kind of like journeying through life, not trying to, but assorting things. You know what I mean? They're being like, damn, I'm close to that age. You know what? I really should get on this and get on that. Like, they're putting shit in order because they're looking at something that is close to them just because numbers match at the moment, whatever. It's a thought. Then there's people who are like mad sad and they're going to, like, throughout the week, they're going to use that. They're going to be like, oh, I ain't coming in today. Oh, no, I ain't getting up with y'all. Man, I can't handle that. Same time, there's other motherfuckers who like, oh man, I gotta live. I gotta go do some shit. I gotta go be active. Cause who the fuck knows when it comes, right? Like you just said, owes nobody. It takes fucking babies, my nigga. Like, death owes no person anything. It's its own fucking ride. And I believe I myself, probably for like that much of a window. Yeah, I'm gonna be cocky about it. I don't give a fuck. My time measurement is whatever. Would think about like, damn, if I don't get to finish something. Like if I don't pull off trying to pull off. Like what? And then you know what reality did for me for that? It wasn't even humbling. It was like sucker punches. You know what I mean? It was like, yo, what did you worry about that for? Why do you even care? Everything around you fuck with you, my nigga. Handle your business. You know what I mean? Motherfucker, like, yo, bro, don't worry about that. Just do this. Yo, bro, don't worry about that. Just do this. Motherfucker going and giving the nigga the arm. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, you know what? It is designed. And you can't pick how it play out. But if it's in motion, you gotta let it ride. I mean, if the motherfucking shit is sad today, don't think tomorrow should be the sad from Thursday, nigga. It's Friday. The Friday should be its own sad if it's a sad. It's got to be its own individual to keep getting these steps through. You know what I mean? When you start traveling baggage, trash. Like, you're bound to break. You're taking trash with you from the... Trash men take trash to a dump. Why the fuck am I packing it up and traveling with this shit?
No, I want to add something to that. That's real shit. That's real shit. To employ energy to the use of something beneficial. You know what I'm saying? We done had this conversation before. I said, like, I done told you, man, I'm gonna be grieving for a long time. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of annoying to the degree in which that statement is real and shit. You know what I'm saying? So when certain things happen, sometimes even to this day, and I get triggered, and I'm just like, yo, I'm in the space. I'm like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? I'm not a kid anymore. I have the luxury and I have the right for me to go and cry off into the corner. Cool. That's me. I can do that. I can choose to do that if I so choose. However, if I continue to do this consistently for the next 10 years, I can't blame nobody but myself. If 10 years later, I'm in the same rut. If I'm in the same situation, no progress 10 years later, I can't blame nobody but myself. Because I chose to make these decisions. See, everything is a choice. Everything is a choice. That is the very definition of free will. Everything is a choice. I really strive to employ energy for me. Like, if something bugs me, I go read a book. I'm currently reading Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I'll fuck around and go read a chapter if I'm feeling a little bit low. I'm also reading Mastery by Robert Greene, the same person that wrote the 48 Laws of Power, on my phone. I'm feeling some type of way, I'll go read that. I got shit that I gotta read. I got shit that I gotta do. I got things that I gotta learn. If I'm gonna continue to be boo-hooing about every little thing that happens, and don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm a machine. It's not like every single thing that happens, I'm going to go straight to reading. I'm going to go straight to something beneficial. There's times that I'm going to be doing certain things. For me, I'll watch a YouTube video. I might watch a rap battle. I might watch a music video. I might watch an interview, whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? And those things might make me feel good in the time being. It might be my little high. It might be my little, you know what I mean, my little dopamine push. And yeah, I understand that that's not going to be it's no benefit anything further than what it is that I'm looking for those things for. However, I understand also I can't continue to lean on these things all the time. I've had my space doing that. I know where it led. So even because the stakes is high, it's just like, all right, cool. I feel a little bad. You know what I mean? I might watch a rap video, this, that, and the third. I feel myself physically getting sick sometimes if I don't read these days. I go 2-3 days without reading. I feel my stomach gets sick. I go 2-3 days without watching a video on something about financial literacy, on something about spirituality, on something about bettering myself. I feel physically sick because I know where this leads. I've done it before. I've wasted time in this sense before. So yes, I've done things that help me to pass this time and to feel better. But what the fuck is feeling better in now as opposed to having something set up so that my future, these things won't scathe me at all? Everything is a fucking choice, yo. But I want to get into a comment real quick. You said what?
Go ahead. No. Go ahead. I wrote it down because I knew I'm smoking and I'm thinking about a lot of shit. So
All right.
I wrote it down. Go ahead.
So Yamade said, "What pardon me. What your genetics are a makeup that different genetics of your parents are a makeup of the different genetics of your parents. Pardon me. Different people come together anywhere on your family tree, and you aren't you anymore. Even if the other quote unquote you was raised exactly the same as you with the same experiences, they still wouldn't be the same because nature is as important as nurture." That's interesting. Nature versus nurture. Chev, how do you feel about that response as far as the you and genetics in the integration of the you?
Oh, I got it. I got an answer. I got a beautiful answer, right? So we're gonna keep this one. I'm gonna use one example, one statement. I wrote it down, so I feel good. It'll be. It's not the person. It's not the characteristics. It's not the demeanor. It's nothing other than the opportunity of existence. The existence of I would be the triggered existence. You know what I mean? The formula that finishes the I would, yes, I agree, be different. But I'm just talking about the numbers adding up. Prime example, if I do a piece of concrete that is 8 by 11, and I do another piece of that is 11 by 8, they may be in different locations with the same math, just flipped. Same amount of concrete goes into both. Yet where they are is the only difference.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Their location and their journey is the only difference. Their existence has happened because I've done it.
That's interesting.
You know what I mean?
That's interesting. You know, it's funny that you say that. Neil deGrasse Tyson, I believe his name is. I might have just slaughtered his name, but he's a very famous astrophysicist. Yeah, really famous astrophysicist. And he had an interview, not an interview, it's Hot Ones. It was one of my favorite things to watch. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole 10 hot wings, and each hot wing's got a different hot sauce that's crazier than the next. And if you get to the end, you get to promote your shit. He was on the show. Yeah, that's my shit, bro. He was on the show, right? And he said that the human body is consistent of Kang just left or whatnot, but I'm sure that we gonna get him back. He might have just had some signaling issue or whatnot. But as soon as he comes back, I'm gonna join him into the program so that we can continue our conversation. But he said something very interesting about, and he coming right back in, about the human body and about outside the human body as well. He said that the human body is consistent of 4 elements. I want to see if I can get this right. Hydrogen, it might have been, I know it's oxygen, carbon, and the last one might be nitrogen. Not too sure about that last one, but let's just use nitrogen as a stand-in right now. Hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, nitrogen. And he said, do you know as far as the universe, the 4 major elements that constitute matter in the universe are? Hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, nitrogen. And he was like, so what does that tell you? That tells you that you and the universe are one. Same formula.
Same formula.
Same formula. The nuances make the differences. But what makes us special is the fact that we, you know what I'm saying?
It's the size. It's the what it becomes that's the problem. It's the what it is that's their problem. Because if the human is made out of the same thing as the universe, the only problem the human has is not a universe. Wow. And Lupe has that fucking bar where he talks about big worlds eating on little worlds because they're not in the velocity. That's fucking.
Real shit, man. Real shit. Yeah. But we still need lines to differentiate. Now everything connects and everything is one, but you still need lines to differentiate. I was actually having a laugh with myself, and I'm like, if you don't have lines, you're a fool. You go ahead and start thinking that a baby human is the same thing as a grown bear because everything connects and everything is the same. You will know very quickly the difference between a human baby and a full-grown fucking bear. There's still lines that you need to respect. You go off into where the lions stay, and you think that you can play with the lions the same way that you can play with the turtles. You'll learn very quickly that there are lines that you need to respect. Everything connects, sure. You know what I mean? So even if we put it into the frame of human beings, you know what I mean? There are certain human beings that you know that you resonate with, and others that you know you just don't play those type of things with. You know, play those games with. Elements. There are certain elements that you can, you know what I mean, play around with or whatnot, but the extremities of all elements you don't fuck around with. A little bit of fire can bring warmth to your home. Too much will burn that motherfucker down. A little bit of cool air could bring a nice little change when it's too hot. Too much of that shit'll freeze you motherfucker balls off. Literally. You know what I'm saying? Dry ice, like literally and shit. So there's always a respect for the line. That's why I hate when people try to play the whole, you know what I mean, it's super politically correct. It's like you trying to play so safe so that you can try to get as many people, try to amass as many opinions and try to play to fuck playing to the field. Fuck that shit. That shit corny as fuck, bruh. Half of the people who are going into the fucking ballots to make their votes every 4 years don't know what the fuck they want. They just in fear of the shit that they don't want.
Listen, right? Listen. I'm glad you mentioned votes. You know what I mean? I ain't seen you to talk to you about this. You know what I mean? Because this shit funny. Motherfuckers walking up handing out votes and jobs. Wait, that's just one. Number two. Wait. Number two, here go number two. Number two is I get a phone call and it's like, hello, brother. What the fuck is this? You know what I mean? That's not my response. I was raised like 5% better. You know what I mean? I'm like, hello? They like, yeah. You plan on voting? I'm like, come on, player. Not even, man. He like, I respect that. Have a good day. And then there's like the text message. Hey, this is black votes. How the fuck? Wait, time out. There's a ballot on the box that say, yo, put your black vote in. Y'all cool with this? Since we talking about getting flat, let's get flat. Y'all telling me this girl is cool with a ballot. Might as well be a ballot on the blocks and say, here's the black votes. Because now you're literally not saying, I need your Democratic vote. You're pulling up saying the black vote count. You're pulling up saying the Republican vote count. Who the fuck everybody voting for if all these different forms of voting keep opening up?
Oh, God. That's too crazy.
I'm just, who you going to be voting for? if every time the Hispanic vote must stand together, I've seen them signs. I ride through Kensington. You know what I mean? We must join together to vote for who, my nigga? Like, which side of the fence are we voting for? Are we voting so y'all can say we got like something to do with this, y'all? Like we just did something, you know what I mean? Like when a little kid learned to tie his shoe, or a motherfucking kid can now wash his hands by himself, or his mom let him peel his first apple. You know what I mean? You want us to feel like mile markers or a part of it. I'm just gonna say it's mile markers.
But here's the
in
thing.
my opinion.
I want to agree with you on that. I want to agree with you on that, but I also want to play the balance for it too, right? It's a mile marker, yes, but once again,
where are you in the grand scheme of things, right? Because we're not going to
downplay voting, but we have to understand what system we're a part of.
You know, now I'm going to go to
my own horn. Now this is going to be a personal flag where people who know me are going to look at me a certain type of way because I don't like tooting my own horn about shit. But when I get to tooting, I start putting some things out that people didn't even know about and shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to toot my own horn a couple times. You know what I mean? This is the type of person I am, right? The reason why voting is not necessarily a person like as a thing for me is because I am an industrial person. My plans, literal plans, are to bring jobs to people, to help put food on people's plates, to help get people paid. There's an instance several years ago that people in the city of Philadelphia don't even know. Chev is probably the only one to know. It's the only time that I've ever said this shit publicly that I had a contract to bring an establishment from New York called EO Dub end of the week to Philadelphia, in which I was going to run it. I didn't want to bring that contract to Philadelphia. Chev right here, he can admit to it. I didn't want to bring that contract to Philadelphia because when I read the contract and I sent it over to a friend who sent it to his lawyer, it wasn't the terminology of the contract wasn't something that I was like, it was cool. I was cool with, right? So I didn't want to just put my face on it just so I could say that I brought it to the city and I did something. No, shit had to make sense. So I didn't go with it, right? Right now, I've had a talk with my brothers, Chev and Dash, to employ digital street teams for PVM in which we were going to pay out of our pocket for people to help to promote PVM. Not no, hey, do this for free or do this because you fuck. Nah, here, take this money, get paid every week or get paid every other week. An employment opportunity, payroll. This is where my mind is. This is why voting doesn't resonate with me. Because I'm a person that brings jobs to situations. I'm a person that looks at situations and go, okay, where does the water stop flowing? Where does it start trickling? And where do I need to find myself in between where the water starts? You know what I'm saying? So I can climb up. I need to be near the top of the waterfall. Me being at the bottom where all the trickle shit and all the minerals come down, the water might be sweet and everything. That's cool and everything, but you can't white rudder rapids on that motherfucker. I'm just saying, I'm a thrill seeker when it comes to certain things. And it's a lot more beautiful looking at a full waterfall in all of its glory than looking at a couple of water driplets trickle down to the very bottom where all the rocks and everything is and the algae and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Your waterfall reference is beautiful. You know why, right? Because like this is the best part, right? This is why I'm choosing joy over everything and calm and all that over everything. At the top of the waterfall, the water in most situations doesn't even rush to fall. Water doesn't have a speed on it, bro. You ain't never see the water say, hey, I'm doing 65 today. You know what I mean? Look. I'm coming down to Delaware. I'm going to do about 75. Now, yes, water current does exist and all that, but my point is I don't think the water set out to choose where it has speed and where it doesn't. You know what I mean? It's a thing going through something that's predetermined. If we're going to be all the way honest with you, water travels channels. Channels exist from water traveling over time, yada, yada. Water has learned speed and moments don't matter. I might wash out into a lake and it take me 5 days to fully travel through this little town because we don't have that much current or the incline ain't that high, whatever, whatever. But then I'm right back going through a city and through plumbing and blah blah blah. That's the shit. Because, like you said, if you're not creating jobs for somebody else, you really ain't really helping people. Like, I'm just gonna be all the way honest with you. They gonna fight about the issues they have in court, deriving everything, no matter who the president becomes, all the time. They showed us that. They give us an issue, and then they give us an election. They give us an issue, then they give us an election. This shit is like guaranteed fucking tea. You know what I mean? It's so guaranteed that it's tied, just like you said, to Kanye, because he enjoyed the repetition of this yard. He's just getting, you know what I mean? I hate to tell people that they may not want to hear it, but he's about to learn how to shut up. And when he learns how to shut up, oh, not even that he got to learn how to shut up. He just got to not say. He know he's learning to speak less. You know what I mean? It's dangerous. Free thinking is so dangerous to form control. You know what I mean? Because it's not about entitlement. It's more about just understanding what is rightfully something I don't have to ask for. Something I have to say, why are you not granting me this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dash, I seen
Your comment earlier. We was in the flow of the conversation, so I didn't address it immediately. Dad said, "Jeide, snapping. What books are you reading?" I'm currently reading. I'm almost done with it, but I'm currently reading Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and that's in paperback. And on my phone, I'm reading Mastery by Robert Greene. Those are the two books that I'm reading simultaneously. It's interesting. That's another thing, man. It's interesting when you read books, when you read more than one book at the same time, like, you know what I'm saying? Everyone's, it's funny. Let me just put it that way. It's funny how if you on your shit, how two authors from two different walks of life can be saying certain shits, and it's like they having a conversation with each other because you decided to read more than one book at the same time and shit. It's interesting as fuck. It
Oh,
really is. But that African butterfly also dropped some questions or pardon me, comments, which has a question. And if I'm not mistaken, I want to get to that. That African butterfly said, everyone needs to pay attention to their local elections. Absolutely. Governor and down. They're the
yeah,
people who really impact your daily life.
yeah.
Do you know how much power your mayor has? Most people can't name their mayor. Real shit. That's real shit. But how
Nope.
many jobs? Oh, my fault. What'd you say, bro?
No, I was like, yup. I don't even know. I think it's Kenny right now. I don't even know who this motherfucker is right now. I only know him because I had to draw an image of his dumbass. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I mean, Jetty said I was supposed to get.
Word. The African butterfly also said, but how many jobs would you have created with it? Could it have opened doors for you to do later, to later do it how you really wanted it to? Those questions were for Jetty, and the contract he said wasn't right. Great question. That's one of the main things. The terminology of the contract wasn't something that made sense, not only to me, but it wouldn't have made sense to the people that I would have put in power, as far as the hierarchy, as far as those who are going to be on the stage, the behind the scenes and whatnot. It leaned itself so much to the power of the establishment, which I can't knock it, but the overhead. It was so much power for the overhead that anything we would have done, it wouldn't have been much creditation to what we would have been able to pull away with outside of some monetary value or monetary compensation. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't make sense to something that would have been long lasting outside of the name, outside of, being able to just promote a name, a brand. You know what I'm saying?
Go
It
ahead
wouldn't
and
have
say,
been nothing much more than just being able to promote a brand for the brand's sake. So that was a great question. I didn't see anything in the term in the contract that would lend itself to making sense in a several year, 10-year long run as far as being able to build, blossom from it, and still be able to go off into our respective fields and still grow and build. I didn't see that. I didn't like it. So I just let that contract just sit where it is. Still, I'm still cool with those people. Those people are fam. Shout out to the EO Dub fam. They're decent folk. Fuck with them if y'all MCs. Fuck with them if y'all artists. That's real shit. It's just as far as that particular aspect was concerned several years back, it didn't make sense. So it's then push forward with it, you know?
Yo, people do things because they want a result compared to actually how much they want to do them, right? So in a lot of situations when opportunities presented, we jump clean into it because we're like, fuck that. I myself have done it, like especially in the name of needing bread. All right, well, I don't feel like doing this, but fuck that, we jumping in because we need the bread. And what happens is when you jump in the shit compared to walking in the room and like checking it out before you say yes, you place yourself in a much better lean way and headspace, right? Because now you're not balancing what you're not surprised by. It's more like, oh, all right, this now meets what I've seen over here. It's like being asked to do work somewhere, a wall, being asked to paint a wall, but never getting told how big. And someone saying, "Bro, I'll pay you 10,000," not knowing this wall might be goddamn a block long. Who the fuck knows? Like you getting paid 10,000, but it's a block long and 2 stories high. Now you gotta hire a team. You still got 10,000, right? But so now you gotta hire a team. You gotta do some people to work. Most people gonna want $100 or better. How many hours are we gonna take to get this done? If we gonna cut down on people, do we buy a machine so now we can spray? Money, that 10K that you was jumped out the door for, this got snatched, bruh. And it's gonna go past you like you riding down the block with the window drop. You hear me? That motherfucker that's on that 10K on some real life shit, it might get over. You might walk away with 1,500, depending on what you need to do. Cause oh my bad, that wall got to get stripped. We need primer paint, and it want an
Might
image
be in
on
the
it.
red.
You
You
know what
talking
I
about walking
mean?
away 1,500? You might be in the red. You might have to be out of pocket with a few more dollars on top of that, man. For real.
We don't like to survey shit. We love to jump right into it. That's why contracts are long, and they know humans is not about it, bro. We don't give a fuck. And this starts with the basic practice for like purchases of cell phones and shit. Cause I'm trash with that. I don't even care no more. You know what I mean? I just be all honest with you. I just check the box, check the box, check the box. Give me my fucking phone. You know what I
I'm the
mean?
same way.
Like,
I read as much as I can, but look, like, at the end of the day, man.
yo, if it's not tied to like business and me making money or a high five, I'm at a strong fucking point. You know what I mean? Because all they doing is guaranteeing their ass is safe. They're making sure they're unliable. Can't be blamed for shit if this shit do anything to you. You know what I mean? Or if you happen to be recorded or whatever, whatever. Who's gonna read all that just to have to pay somebody? You know, people pay to get cars and shit fixed. The warranty companies contract. They send you a contract saying they'll back your car. When your car needs work on, you know what the first thing they ask you? Something that they're gonna say they put in that contract. First off, they're gonna say, "Well, I need the repair history of that vehicle. The last couple of times dealers seen it." You think about that making a purchase because what you thought about was the moment I pay $300 or $200 a month, this bitch can need a motor and fuck it, I can even get 7,500. I ain't gotta put it up. I put 500 up. They cover the bill. Now your vehicle needs something. And this has happened to multiple people. I've been told this twice now, and probably more. These are just the most 2 recent ones. And literally, the insurance company is saying, "Well, I need to see the work history of the vehicle, and I kind of told you I needed that. You know what I mean? Like you're supposed to do that for me. You know what I mean? And what can you say? Because we didn't read the contract. They had all this shit in it. Because all we thought about was, I give y'all 200. This shit break. Y'all gonna fix it. They like, we know this motherfucker ain't gonna read this shit. Like people, imagine a world where people are counting on you not reading. Just think about that. Like hard on you not reading. That's wild.
Hey, man, look,
As far as I'm concerned, that's a beautiful way to end off this conversation, man.
Kaang Groovin, I want to thank you, my brother, my family, the EP for this show. I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for dropping your gems. Thank you for being such a great person and a great mind as well, man. Appreciate you, man. Real shit.
Appreciate you having me, my G. It's always beautiful to see you.
Right on, right on. As for everybody,
This ain't nothing but a had one day this week on the farm.
that's a fact. As for everybody else up in the chat, thank you for joining. That African Butterfly, Yamade, thank you for your questions. Thank you for your comments. And for everybody else that's been watching, we appreciate y'all. We got some things coming this third season of PVM. Yes. First and foremost, I'll check us out as far as the Patreon is concerned. We had first 100 people to sign up and subscribe to Patreon. It will be pay as you will. But it's only for this year, y'all. Only for this third season. So y'all make sure that y'all go hit up the Patreon. There's going to be a lot of content that we have. Dash is going to have Cooking with Dash. I'm going to have Cypher City sit downs where I break down all of my writings and do it live for y'all and see. We have some things for y'all. We got merchandise. We have meet and greets. We have a lot of things that PVM is going to be starting to put into the service and the employment of other people, including service and employment. But, you know, we'll get into all that later. As far as what it is right now, thank you once again. We love you. And we'll see you this Wednesday.